So you guys have spent so much time hustling and making the pitch to businesses, to advertisers. What is the pitch to consumers? What is Quibi, and why should anyone in this room or anywhere care?
Yeah.
First of all, you shouldn't care, but please keep watching anyways. Quibi was a streaming service whose shows aimed to compete with Netflix and HBO, but you could only watch on your phone, and every show was 5 to 10 minutes an episode. All that inconvenience for the low price of $9 a month.
And I asked this earlier, but have you done the market research to show that there's demand for this?
Well, I've been in the consumer products business for nearly 30 years. It's very hard to do research and ask customers about something that doesn't exist today.
And your target, you said, is 25 to 35-year-olds?
Yeah, and it'll include probably 7 years younger and 7 years older, but the core audience.
Does not...
Here's the goal, just to answer that.
Yeah.
5 years from now, we want to come back on this stage. There will have been the era of movies, the era of television, the era of Quibi, and Quibi will be to what you call short form, what Kleenex is to tissue.
If that happens in 5 years, can I interview you on this stage? Or
I'll interview you.
I express too much doubt.
I may interview you on this stage. So back then, Dylan, you doubting motherfucker, what was going on? What's the matter with you?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Several months later.
Quibi had pretty much every advantage. Proven leadership, almost $2 billion to burn, and the backing of every major Hollywood studio. So, where'd things go wrong? Welcome to the Ryle Report. To make a long story short, it depends on who you ask. The founder of Quibi blames the pandemic, but my investigation yielded a few much larger factors. Let's make a short story long and dig into those. Their first huge mistake was fundamentally misunderstanding their audience. Quibi's leadership team was mostly old, mostly rich, and entirely out of touch with their target market of
25 to 35 years old.
We don't engage with our phones because it's rewarding. We engage with them because it's a temporary retreat from the constant aching monotony of daily life. The moment there's something more interesting to do, my phone is gone. With a show on my phone, even a bite-sized one, my options are either stick with it even as something more interesting is happening, or turn it off, making a quick bite into a nibble, which does nothing to relieve the never-ending existential dread we constantly feel. The second major issue for Quibi was that their content was completely wrong for mobile devices, and it was only on mobile devices. Let's turn back to March 2020, the month both Quibi and COVID-19 had their full public launch. With everyone stuck at home, interest in mobile video should go down. Here's the Google Trends for Quibi and TikTok, both of which are apps centered around mobile video. COVID hits, Quibi struggles to take off, but TikTok explodes.
You tell me what the hell's going on?
Content on TikTok is made by users, shot and edited in a few minutes or less, and most of the time, pretty boring and unoriginal. Quibi's content, on the other hand, was made by Hollywood teams with high-end budgets and worked on for months before being uploaded. All these advantages, and the end result was somehow so much worse than anything on TikTok. So much worse. Now we come to the final and biggest reason why Quibi failed, and that's a show that they didn't make. The date is November 30th, 2020, and Quibi is one day away from shutting down forever. But then, a Twitter user posts a screenshot of a Wikipedia page about an upcoming show on Quibi called Jack Sparrow House. The show's premise was simple yet brilliant. A reality competition similar to Big Brother, but the competitors are 14 Jack Sparrow impersonators who live in one house. If they break character, they're eliminated from the competition. People were extremely excited for the show, and it promised some wild twists and turns, such as multiple contestants leaving after separate public defecation incidents, and another exiting due to the house's close proximity to an elementary school. Could this scrappy little show bring Quibi back from the brink of death? But alas, it wasn't to be. The Wikipedia page for Jack Sparrow House turned out to be a very well thought out fake, and Quibi shut down the next day as expected. I truly believe that this show, had it been real, is the exact type of content Quibi should have been focused on from the beginning. Silly and ridiculous, yes, but a hilarious way to fill 5 to 10 minutes with the potential for endless viral moments. Of everything I investigated, Jack Sparrow House was the only thing that could have actually saved Quibi. But sometimes, theory isn't enough. So I decided to prove it by producing a pilot episode of Jack Sparrow House. From the moment I began working on it, the production was plagued with issues. First, due to the ongoing pandemic and a lack of budget, the show was changed from Jack Sparrow House to Jack Sparrow Zoom Session. Then, some lawyers from Disney got in touch with me regarding my previous video, which included impressions of Mickey Mouse and Kermit the Frog, and they said they would be suing if I used any copyrighted Disney property again. The video only had like 10 views, so I don't know how they found it, or why it was that big of an issue, but that meant Jack Sparrow Zoom Session became Black Sparrow Zoom Session. Then a few days later, the lawyers from Disney contacted me again and said they could see what I was doing with the name, and I was lucky they hadn't already sued. So Black Sparrow Zoom Session became Generic Pirate Zoom Session. But after that, the show was off and running. I'm currently hard at work editing the first episode together, and it'll be done this Friday, June 4th. Thanks for checking out another episode of The Ral Report.